What is going on, everyone? It's AP over here at Rumpier Sports, and I'm here with my man, BobbyGomes. We're here to talk NBA, basketball. We're going to find some awesome winners on this fine Saturday night. BobbyGomes, how are you doing, man? How's it going?
Doing well. Good weekend. Glad to be here with UAP as always on Saturdays. JSU couldn't make it. He had to basically do some licensing stuff for his gym, so we're here breaking down this NBA slate. Got a pretty good slate here, a lot of late news. So if you're staying up late on a Saturday night, you kind of get an edge versus people who might be out partying, drinking. So I don't know, AP, how are you approaching this NBA slate we got here?
That was kind of me last night. Got together with the neighbors, had one too many whiskeys, but feeling good. One mistake I made yesterday, I got a little too cute. I played this Poku guy who just sucks, and he sucked and tanked my lineups, and I overthought it. I'm not doing that on tonight's slate. Like yesterday, I went in loving Nurkic, and then I ended up punting at center, and it was a huge mistake, and it cost me a lot. So tonight, I'm not getting cute. I think it's a pretty straightforward slate. It's a good slate, though. Like, we have 6 games to break down. We have a ton of injury news to go over. And then we have this Houston spot where they have 8 available guys. They just confirmed it. So they are good to go in a late game hammer spot with the Nuggets. So it's going to be a fun situation to break down today. If you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps to keep this free and coming to you every single day, 7 days a week, as we dial in and finish up this NBA season. So, BobbyGomes, let's start with the Pistons and Pacers. Just to review the injury news that we have. So, on the Pistons side, this is what, they got this yo-yo thing going on right now where one game they have all these guys that play, and then the guys like Mason Plumlee and Corey Joseph, Grant will all sit. It's projected right now that Mason Plumlee, Corey Joseph, Wayne Ellington, and Jeremy Grant are all probable. Rodney McGruder, Dennis Smith Jr. are both out. And then on the Indy side, which is the side I'm far more interested in, Domantas Sabonis is still out. Jeremy Lamb, Goga, some of these names are just ridiculous. Goga, we'll call him, Doug McDermott. They are all questionable. So that's a spot that we have to keep an eye on the slate. Because again, if Goga, Lamb, and Doug McDermott are all out, we're going to have that same situation where we saw Levert, Brogdon, and O'Shea Brissett just absolutely smash. And so let's dive into this game. BobbyGomes, talk to me about the plays that you like. Is there anyone that you're off? Is there anyone that you're locking into your lineups tonight?
Yeah, so basically, we're getting down there for numbers with this Indy situation. If Lamb's ruled out and Goga's ruled out, they're getting down there in terms of guys. Goga's, regardless, if Goga plays, I like him in this situation, especially with Sabonis out. I think Brogdon's a good play as well. Those would be the main guys that I'd kind of target. O'Shea would obviously be a really good play if Goga were to sit, or what was his name that got the 3K guy the other night? O'Shea, or I don't even know, but
yeah, O'Shea Brissett.
Yeah, he went off for 50. Just they had no bigs, right? Versus OKC, so yep. He'd be someone if Goga sat that would definitely stand out. And on the Detroit side, there's not a ton there. I kind of like Mason Plumlee's price down at 4.9. We've bigs versus Indiana's kind of been a thing. Athletic bigs. We know Mason's he's pretty athletic. He's not the worst playing at that price. I don't hate it. That would kind of be it for me. How are you kind of attacking it? Anyone you see that you like in terms of the Indy side, and then Detroit as well?
Yeah, so we timed this perfectly. That we just got the news. Goga is out. Jeremy Lamb is out. Doug McDermott is in. So for me, what this does is O'Shea Brissett is almost close to a mortal lock for me. He's going to be down there at the 5. Here's the difference between him and a guy like Doug McDermott. Doug McDermott is a shooter. he's not diving to the paint to get rebounds. He literally needs to hit shots to pay off fantasy-wise. O'Shea Brissett is a guy that's going to be down there getting boards. I believe he's coming off a monster 12-rebound game. He had a double-double. He put up 23 points, 12 rebounds, and he had a combination of 5 total steals and blocks. So he's getting it done in all areas, and he's 4.2K. He is a value that I have a ton of interest in playing. And then Brogdon is another guy that I want to lock in. I think the question mark is, do we go after Karis LeVert again? And I think he is definitely fine. You can definitely play him. It's a very similar situation to what we saw against the Thunder. Like, if you think of the Thunder team, they're playing ball right now. They're not too worried about defense. They're just playing back and forth. Pistons are in the same spot. They're not going to give too much resistance on either side of the ball. So I think Brogdon, I think Karis LeVert, I think O'Shea Brissett is definitely a fine way to start your builds. Now, we talked about some of these other spots later in the slate. So you have to think about your roster construction, how many guys that you want to lock up early, to make sure that you can make some pivots if we get crazy news later on in the slate. Fortunately, we have most of the important news already, so we can make a lot of decisions already, and feel very confident about it. One of the guys on the Pistons side that I'm looking hard at, and mainly in tournaments, is Mason Plumlee. Now, I don't trust Dwayne Casey, the Pistons coach right now, and the rotations that he's running out, because they're just evaluating talent. They have nothing to play for. They don't really care about getting wins. I mean, they want losses. But if Mason Plumlee, I played him against the Wizards in a very similar spot, and it wasn't good. He only got 16 minutes. And honestly, playing these bigs against the Wizards hasn't been good because you have Westbrook, who's just constantly attacking them in the paint. And but then we saw Mason Plumlee play 32 minutes against Dallas. So at 4.9K, if Plumlee gets us 32 minutes, he could be a difference maker in tournaments, because I think a lot of people are going to go with Kelly O at center. They're going to go with Jokic at center. I mean, there's a lot of good center plays on this slate, and I think it's a very important decision point when you're making your lineups tonight. So for me, just to kind of wrap this side up, I'm ignoring the Pistons value because I'm far more interested in the Houston Rockets value. And then on the Pacers side, I think it's very simple. It's Brogdon, it's LeVert, it's O'Shea Brissett. And you can make a case for, I don't like Justin Holiday, but he has rushed a few times in the spot. I mean, he's going to have the usage, the shooting usage there, but he needs to score a lot of points. So is there anyone else that you're looking at, or should we go on to the next game?
So we are getting down there in terms of numbers for the Pistons, right? Like, we have 8 for Houston at 10 p.m. and the Pistons are getting down there. They're around 9, I would say. It seems like.
You mean the Pacers?
I mean the Pacers. Sorry, yeah. So I think there's an interesting decision to be made. I think more guys come into play. Like you said, you hit on Justin Holiday. I think that's a good call. Also think if you wanted to go to an Edmund Sumner, but we do have the Rockets value. So they're not locks like they were the other night, but they're just, you could consider them more now, and there's more opportunity to pivot off these Rockets late if you really felt that way. If you kind of wanted a Big T kind of 7-7-7 it, I would say in the first game, maybe there is opportunity to go that route instead of just waiting on this Rockets news. But I think you did a good job in covering pretty much all that, so we can kind of.
All I'll say is, if you fade all of the Rockets tonight, you feel free to send me a head-to-head. I'll definitely play.
No, I'm not saying fade them all. I think you can put we obviously know who the chalk Rockets are. So Jayshawn Tate, KJ Martin, those guys are pretty much locks. But you can get away from Kelly now a little bit more than you really. I feel like Plumlee was the only kind of tournament pivot around Kelly or DJ Wilson for that matter. But now you're getting Brissett, you're getting a couple more guys that are added to that value pool that can kind of get you away from paying a premium for Kelly in a tough spot versus Jokic, right? So I I wouldn't be fading the Rockets, but I think you definitely be a little. You can definitely. There's multiple routes now. Construction's getting a little bit wider, right?
Yeah, I agree, and I do think this is one of the important games that you need to think about and consider tonight. There's a lot of games that we can just completely cross off the list, in my opinion. So make sure, like, if you're fading this first game, I like, because we have an hour gap between the next games, and so you'll see it all the time where it's the core plays, or some of our guys where it's fading all the 7 p.m. games. Total mistake tonight. Do not do that. This is one of the elite spots on this slate. And so, and I think the plays are very transparent, very clear of which ones that we want to go to. So let's move on to the next game. Let's go to the Spurs and the Pelicans. Pelicans are 3-point favorites over the Spurs. And we do have injury news here. Rudy Gay, DeMar DeRozan are both questionable. We have Trey Lyles, who is out, and DeJounte Murray and Patty Mills, who are probable. They're resting, so you got to imagine that they are definitely going to play tonight. And then on the Pelicans side, they're healthy. Nicole Alexander-Walker is still out, projected to be out for another 5 games. James Johnson is questionable. But still, their main guys, Lonzo, Bledsoe, Ingram, Zion, Steven Adams, all healthy. A lot of mouths to feed, as we often say. And this is one of those spots. I don't know. I'm not playing anyone. I think on either side of this game, unless DeMar DeRozan sits, then you can make a case for some of these guys on the Spurs side because the pace will be nice in this game. But Bobby Gomes, let me kick it over to you. Talk to me about this game. Is there anything that you see, something that I might be missing in the spot?
I don't think so. Like, we can make this could be a really quick pass here. I just don't want to deal with like Pop. We had to do that the other night. Lonnie Walker ended up being like an extreme value, which was something you kind of had to anticipate once they ruled out DeJounte.
So, all right, Bobby Gomes. Like, here's the thing that's frustrating for me. Like, the pricing on the Pelican side. Look, when's the last time Zion has ever paid off this 10.1K price tag? He's put up 34,
that's why
48, 55, 29. It's ridiculous. Like, if Zion was 8 point, like, price him right around Ingram. I think then you can make a stronger case for playing him. But right now, the only reason you would play him is if you're jamming in a ton of value and you want his raw points, like his floor that he's going to get us, that 40 plus, which I don't think you need at all on this slate. So
no, I think that's a really good point. Like, he hasn't paid off this tag. You'd like to see him kind of adjust that price a little bit. 10-1 on the slate, like, just not worth it. In this game in general, like, there's no real reason to kind of force this. I think there's better spots, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree. If you want to get very different, you could look at DeJounte Murray only if DeRozan is out. And if DeRozan plays, you could make a case for him because then it would be between him and Jimmy Butler in the game we're going to talk about here next. But again, I think it's fine to fade this game. So yeah, it could be a quicker show tonight for sure because I'm pretty locked in on some of these spots that I just think are very elite. But let's move over to the Chicago Bulls, who are traveling to play the Miami Heat. Heat are 4-point favorites tonight. We got a 204 total. So, like, not going to be a lot of points scored in this game. 2 slower-paced teams. The Heat have been playing very good defense of late. But we have injury news here, and we do have some plays that are going to be viable for DFS. On the Bulls side, Zach LaVine is out. He's out one more game. The Bulls desperately need him back because they are – man, when they made this trade to bring on Vucevic, I thought they were, building a better team to be, not contenders in the East, but at least to maybe get out of the first round of the playoffs. They might not even make the playoffs anymore. Very, very crazy and wild to see, but they need LaVine back. They are struggling without him. They're struggling to score. Kobe White has not been good. And I hope people play him tonight because I don't think he's a good play. That's something that we could talk about here soon. But on the Heat side, we have Tyler Hero, Goran Dragic, and Victor Oladipo all out. So, Gomes, talk to me about this game. Who do you like between the Heat and the Bulls?
Yeah, for me, like I don't hate Jimmy Butler at 9.5. He'd be someone I've been kind of considering in my lineups. He's definitely the preferred option, and then I think Bam is also in play. But these ancillary guys, like we have value with the Rockets, we have value with the Pacers. There's not really reason to go that route. So that would kind of be it. On the Bulls side, like you could play Kobe White. I don't want to play Kobe White. And Vooch might be interesting as a tournament play here at 10-2. I don't hate Vucevic on a 6-game slate either. It's pretty much like the main guys for this team. I feel like you're probably on the same in like lockstep in terms of like guys from this game that you'd consider playing at least. If I would make it, I don't really see anyone else you can make a case for.
Yeah, so we got my boy Jamal in the chat. He's fading the Rockets. So yeah, if you want to do that, I will
send AP that head-to-head.
That will have fun. I mean, it's I'm not trying to have any beef with anyone or anything. Let's have some fun. Send it all over. I'll be looking for that. And yeah, so for me in this game, Kendrick Nunn, he's going to have the ball in his hands. And he's going to play a ton of minutes with their other two primary ball handlers out of this game, Dragic and Hero. And then, Gabe Vincent, I believe, is available. He's probable. And then you got Max Struss. So Vincent isn't a guy that we want to look at all. He hasn't been getting a ton of run. And in these spots, we've just seen them push Kendrick Nunn's minutes. He could play 38, 39 plus minutes. We saw that against the Rockets where he went off. I believe Jimmy Butler was out of that game. But still, at 5'3", he is someone we should have a ton of interest in. And you're going to see that the guard position is loaded tonight. The center position is loaded tonight. And so when I'm looking at Bam, that would be I do like Bam in this spot. We've seen Vucevic used to be thought of as one of the elite, rim protector in the paint, strong defenders. Not the case anymore, in my opinion. We've seen these athletic bigs kind of dominate him, and especially a guy like Bam. So Bam's another guy who racks up peripherals very nicely, gets assists, rebounds, steals, blocks. So Bam is a very interesting tournament play if you're looking to fade Kelly O or Nikola Jokic. Again, though, it's tough because I think both centers in this late game are very good.
I do like the Nunn call. I missed Nunn there. Nunn's a really good play with her out. I didn't even realize that.
And we're gonna see. So we're gonna see a very tight rotation. I think we're gonna see Trevor Ariza play good minutes, Jimmy Butler play good minutes, Kendrick Nunn, and then Bam. So there's still kind of a lot of mouths to feed as we talk about, but I do think Jimmy Butler is one of those elite spins that you would want in cash. He fits very nicely at that small forward position on both sides. And look, we want Jimmy Butler when he's going to be forced to do more on the offensive side of the ball. A lot of times when Jimmy busts, it's because he's deferring to his teammates because they're playing good. And with Hero and Dragic out, which are two primary scoring options on this team, he's going to have to take on more of that workload himself. So even though we have a 204 total here, it does not scare me off of a higher price Jimmy Butler at all. I think Jimmy is a smash play. He feels very safe. And at that small forward position, which always seems to be the struggle on DraftKings, I absolutely love him. And then on the Bulls side, I'm fading Kobe White because I think Nunn is a better play, and I think Armani Brooks is a better play for value. I think there's a lot of and then we want Brogdon, we want LeVert. We want those guys over a guy like Kobe White, in my opinion. If you play Kobe, I think he could randomly go off, sure. I don't think he's looked that good recently. I worry about his rotation. And I worry about the Heat. They're a very good defensive team. So those are the reasons why I'm off of them. Vucevic is another guy I'm off of. Bam is tough down in the paint. But you can make the case for Vucevic because he's going to need to get buckets on this team, and he's kind of having to carry the Bulls right now. Hasn't been working at all, though, because they've been so bad. So for me, I'm far more interested in the Heat side in this game. Gomes, any final thoughts on this game, or should we move to the next?
No, I like the Nunn call. I kind of skipped over that, and I was breaking it down. How do you feel about Nunn relative to like some of these Pacers guards and more like higher end builds, or obviously Armani Brooks is pretty a stone cold lock, but Brogdon, like we're not.
Yeah, I think Brogdon is a lock. I think Armani Brooks is a lock, which we'll talk about soon. And so, look, they're all point guard. And then I also want to go double center tonight. So it puts me in a tough spot with none. I've already been looking at that with my own builds tonight. And so I got to think about, do I want to really go double center? Do I want to prioritize none? If I'm not playing none, I have to get Jimmy Butler in my lineup. It's kind of one of the other rules I'm making. Because if none busts, it means he's not doing his job offensively. It means Jimmy Butler's taking over the game. And so if you fade none, I do think you need like a piece like Jimmy in your lineup.
Yeah, I think that's a really strong take. You'd definitely need one or the other, the way it looks, construction-wise. What game do we have up next?
Yeah, we got the Lakers at the Mavericks next, a rematch of this game that just happened a few nights ago. And we saw Kristaps Porzingis go down with an ankle injury. Didn't look too bad, though. He just rolled his ankle. And I actually had Porzingis that night. It was that crazy night where the Spurs literally like ruled out a ton of people like right before the first game's locked. Luckily, I was backloaded and, I was able to adjust. And I had Porzingis like very low owned. He was 3% owned in the 555 or whatever the tournament was that night. And he was up to like 33 DraftKings points early in the third quarter. I'm like, I'm sitting perfect here. And then he gets hurt, rolls his ankle, and he was done for the game. He is questionable. So just going over the injury news, Porzingis, questionable. Josh Richardson, questionable. Kleber, questionable. That's on the Dallas side. And then on the Lakers side, we got Anthony Davis, who's in or probable. He's going to be on a minutes limit. We don't want to target him. Honestly, I wish they would entice people. I wish they would take AD's price down to like 6 to 8 or something like that. We know he's on a minutes limit. He looked very rusty. I don't like this matchup necessarily for him for getting his feel back. He definitely has a lot of rust to dust off. So if you're playing him, again, send me a head-to-head because it's a very bad play. Drummond looked pretty good last game, though.
Drummond's popping a little bit. I've seen him earlier.
So we should get all of these Lakers back. Marc Gasol is questionable, but Gomes, talk to me about this game. Do you have any interest in either side?
I always have interest in Luka. I know it's been rough lately being on the Luka train, but I just think that on a 5-game slate, he's somebody you have to consider. Doesn't project the greatest, like 11K. I definitely out of the studs, I'd probably prefer Jokic, and definitely like Jimmy Butler as well for a little bit cheaper. But Luka would be the guy for me, and then Porzingis at 9K. Like, it is a 5-game slate. You have to get different in some ways. He fits away. Like, everyone's going to be playing Olynyk. Porzingis is power forward and center eligible. He's at 9K. You could go there. It's just I like the point you made. Like, I wish Anthony Davis was a little bit more enticing in terms of price. Like, it would make it for a decision point there. I wouldn't roster him, but definitely I think other people would have to make that decision at this price tag. Like, I don't think you can really play him. That's pretty much it. I don't mind Drummond. I think he projects all right. He played well, but he's up to 7.5 now. AD's minutes should be ramping up eventually. I don't think it's going to happen tonight, but so maybe Drummond's not someone I really want to target. Schroeder, don't want to play him. I don't know. I think it'd just be Luka for me in this game. Like, there's not really a ton that I love on the LA or Dallas side. It's mainly like the 2 games that I'm going to be pulling from are the Rockets and Indiana. I know that's where I'm getting my value already.
Oh, we got one other game too that I might be able to sell you on some pieces, but okay. So a couple of things. One thing I noticed when watching this game, Gomes, was AD might have been shitty and looked bad, but he gave a nice spark to these players. Like, Drum looked good next to him. Schroeder looked good. So if you're looking to get different in tournaments, maybe look at those guys. But then the question is, who do you play them over? I can't play Schroeder over like Brogdon. Like, I can't play.
Yeah, that would be tough.
And that's where it gets tough. Like, if you're multi-entering and if you want to get different, there's definitely ways. Like, Drummond had almost He had 19 boards in 30 minutes last game. I do worry about his minutes in rotation. He's barely getting over 30 minutes. They obviously want to keep him fresh and healthy. And it's going to be fun watching this Lakers team when AD is fully healthy, when LeBron is healthy. Then you got Drummond down there. They just have a lot of athleticism, a lot of size and length. It's going to be it's going to be pretty tough on teams, I think. So you got to like the combo that they have building there. But Schroeder, he's under 7K. I'm not going to get there, but he did look good last game. Drummond is interesting, but again, center's loaded. Do I really want to play him? Is he going to get those 19 plus boards again? I mean, he could. There's a lot of clanks in this game. Their shooting was not good last game, and he's just a beast on the board. So it's an interesting point for sure. Porzingis, I keep an eye on his status. His ankle, he did go down hard. He got bullied and beat up in that game pretty good. Right before the ankle injury, he got kicked in the nuts pretty hard. So it was just a painful one for him. But it's Luka. Do you want to, if you're fading Jokic in the late game, you probably want some Luka exposure. He looked good. He's been very consistent lately, 63, 61, 62, 58. And he's been very close to triple doubles. So he's not even getting that triple double bonus. But I do think Luka is a very good play. The other thing that I love about Luka, we talked about all of these elite guards on this slate. You can play Luka at the small forward position, which means you don't have to fade some of these, the Armani Brooks, Brogdon, like these guys that are, that might be a way to actually play a guy like Kendrick Nunn by going away from the double center route, playing one center, maybe moving off Jokic for Luka, and then jamming in all of those elite guards that we talked about. I actually kind of like that route quite a bit. Might have to lock that up. But let's move on to the Timberwolves and Jazz. 230 total. The Jazz are a 12-point favorite over the Timberwolves. I think we have some really interesting spots here, plays here. Most importantly, Donovan Mitchell is still out. He's going to be out for one more game after this one is what they're projecting. And then on the Wolves side, they're all healthy, but we do have a good idea of what their rotations are looking like. And so at least we have some predictability on their from their side. But Gomes, talk to me about the Jazz. Are you playing any of these guys with Mitchell out in a very nice matchup against a fast-paced Wolves team that's not playing any defense?
I do have some interest in Clarkson and Conley. Obviously, I think those are the first place. That's the first place we have to look. I think they both project well. I would prefer Clarkson in GPPs. I just think he has a higher ceiling if that's just for tournaments. I just think his ceiling is a little bit higher than Conley's. And I could see him if everyone's going to I feel like people would be interested in getting into Indiana now, get into Brogdon. I think Brogdon's a total lock, but if you wanted to differentiate in tournaments, this is where you're dropping down to. Clarkson, Conley, we're all projecting well earlier in the day prior to the Indiana news, but now that I feel like Brogdon's going to be a mainstay, or I think that taking a GPP shot on Clarkson relative to Conley would be a way to go in tournaments. And then on the other side, I don't know. I don't want to play anyone versus Gobert. I don't love Cat. He's been tough for me to get right. So maybe running Gobert back at Cat in large field stuff, but we have ton of value at center with Kelly Olynyk. Maybe that's not the worst play in tournaments, is getting to Gobert. Some Cat defense for Gobert. Gobert's definitely not going to be owned. You're taking out a big usage piece in Mitchell. So maybe Gobert is a way to kind of differentiate in tournaments. He doesn't look like he's going to be too highly owned. So he might be another way to just make yourself just go against construction pretty much. What are you seeing in terms of this game?
Yeah, so one thing Donovan Mitchell being out does, so Donovan Mitchell plays a lot of ISO ball, and obviously he's improved his game and his shooting. He's definitely was an MVP candidate, still probably is, maybe top 5. But Mike Conley runs a much more straightforward offense, which is good for a guy like Rudy Gobert. I do think he's interesting. He's got some nice mixed results against Cat in the past. I think he has a few 50-plus games. So if you're looking to get a little bit different, Gobert, I think, is interesting. He's right there with Bam, right in that same range. I do think Bam gives you more upside as far as like he does more on the offensive end of the ball. But if you just look at the Wolves, you're going to have like Anthony Edwards trying to get into the paint. You're going to have like Gobert could rack up 5+ blocks in the first half alone. Like if Anthony Edwards is trying to drive or trying to dunk on him or do what he does, like Gobert is not going to let that happen. He's not going to get postered. So, I mean, I do think the steal and block upside is good for him in this matchup. Might be someone to consider on FanDuel if you're looking to get off of Jokic because he's 8.3K on FanDuel as well. I think Mike Conley is definitely in play. He's 7K. He's a little bit too cheap. He sees a nice usage bump. The ball's in his hand far more often. He was running a 29% usage rate against Houston, 26 against the Lakers. So yeah, when Mitchell's off the court, it's definitely a bump for him. But for me on DraftKings, it comes down to our roster construction. I have a ton of interest in Joe Ingles. I have a ton of interest in Bogdanović because I can play them at the small forward position. I can play them at the power forward position or the forward position. And those are areas right now, since I'm prioritizing some of this guard value and we have a lot of good center plays, I need these small forward plays that have upside. And Joe Ingles does. He could easily put up 40+ here in this spot. We've seen him be very consistent in these spots where either Mitchell's been out or when Clarkson's been out over the season. It doesn't matter. If you run it, if you go in and you run the situation, he's gotten a bump with either guy going out tonight. So Ingles is definitely a guy that we can consider and look at. And then Bogdanović too. They're both priced. Bogdanović is a little bit cheaper. Ingles has been the better of the two. If you're looking for a fringe kind of value play, Royce O'Neal, he's going to play 36 minutes. He might be out there jogging on the court, though. That's the only problem with him. He's not a high fantasy point per minute producer. But what I've noticed with him is when he hits a few shots, it kind of helps out every other area of his game. If he doesn't hit some shots, then, he's not going to do much for you. So I have a ton of interest in those guys. And then we got Ricky Rubio, 4.8K. Could be a total trap for sure at this price, but you gotta like him in this spot. Like the risk with him is he's not going to take a ton of shots, but if he's distributing the ball, he's a distributing point guard. If he's racking up those assists, maybe he's crashing the boards and getting some rebounds. He's an interesting play if this game stays close for sure. And then you got Anthony Edwards, who's just, when he's in there, he's taking all the shots that he can. You got D'Lo off the bench. I won't get there. I don't like the matchup, and he's not getting the minutes, and we have too many other better guard plays. But, I got to mention him at least. And then you got Towns. So, like, for me, on the Wolves side, they have a deep rotation, a lot of mouths to feed. I will most likely fade their side in favor of the Utah side, and then with those other spots that we obviously talked about on the slate.
I don't hate this Ricky Rubio call. A little revenge for Ricky Rubio.
A little revenge, yeah exactly. He doesn't seem like too vengeful of a guy, but you never know.
He could be stone cold. Ricky Rubio could be stone cold. You never know.
He's 4.8K. Like there are worse plays on the slate than Ricky Rubio for sure. He's not going to be in my main build, I promise you, because I already you're giving up one of these elite guys because he's a point guard and you only can play 3 point guards on DraftKings. In the point guard spot, utility spot. So there's an opportunity cost situation that you have to evaluate there. But with Rubio, I'll have him in like a deep tournament that I do, like that $20 100K or something. Any final
with the Ricky Rubio call at all? I think that's pretty sharp. Definitely a way to differentiate your build, and if you're building large field stuff, you should definitely have some Ricky Rubio tonight.
Very good. Let's go to what I think is one of the easiest smash spots on the slate. Is the late game hammer between the Rockets and the Nuggets. The Nuggets are 14-point favorites, but the Rockets had 8 guys available. And I will say, Jason Tate rolled his ankle last night. He is available and good to go. But yeah, like, ankle rolls, if he has any swelling or anything, like it could be, we could see some more DeCon Jeffries. Anthony Lamb is a guy that could get some minutes off the bench as well. But still, we know the rotation is going to be very tight. We know where the production should come from. And then on the other side, so the Nuggets are going to be without Will Barton and without Paul Millsap, most likely. He's doubtful for rest purposes. But Barton is very significant, in my opinion, because we're going to see point guard Jokic for sure. When Barton's out there, he's another guy that kind of run things. We're not going to really see Campazzo run things. Like he'll be in there, he'll bring the ball up, but it's everything's going to flow through Jokic. This is, I promise you, this is one of those games. Like if you're pissed at Jokic right now because he's put up a 44 and a 35 over the last 2 games, don't even look at those box scores. Wipe them from your memory. This is one of those spots where like Jokic could have a triple-double by halftime. Like he's going to have no resistance at all on the Rockets side. And if they can keep it within striking distance, he's going to get the minutes too. So Gomes, talk to me about the Nuggets at Rockets versus Rockets. What do you like here?
Yeah, there's absolutely no way I fade Jokic tonight. 10-9, like you said, we're going to see point Jokic. It's really tough to fade, little resistance. The resistance is not going to come from Kelly Olynyk, I can tell you that much. Another guy I like for the Nuggets, I think PJ Dozier is interesting. He's someone that I think prior to the value that we got with Indy was someone I was considering and probably still considering a little bit. If I'm building 150, I think he grades out well. You're going to have him in your player pool. On the Rocket side, like I think that's pretty much where the majority of construction starts, around Olynyk, around KJ Martin, Armani Brooks. Like I think a lot of these guys in cash games you're just locking in. Definitely Armani Brooks, definitely Kelly, definitely KJ. Jason Tate, we talk about the ankle injury. He's also a very strong play. They're just going to see so many minutes. They have 8 guys. Like the one guy I think that has the biggest like range of outcomes where he busts is Kelly. Like that's where I'm trying to get different. We talked about Plumlee. We talked about Gobert. We talked about like Drummond. There's other centers on this slate where I would kind of take a stance on Kelly, where if I was playing GVPs, I would probably be with the field or be underweight in terms of playing him. He'd be the one guy who would have the least amount of interest. I think DJ Wilson's another guy for the Rockets that might like, maybe Big T would go there if he was doing like a workbench play today. Like he would be someone you'd consider just because we're getting minutes that are opening up here and he's going to be needed versus Jokic. You might see 25 minutes. Like you'd see a significant amount of minutes just in this situation. So I don't mind him at all. Yeah, that's pretty much it though. Like you're playing these Rockets. This slate's like pretty straightforward. You're playing these Rockets. You're going to play an Indiana guy. Consider a Heat guy, and that's pretty much how you're building. Any thoughts? Any final thoughts, AP?
Yeah. So, all right. So, real quick, let's talk about the Rockets side. Break it down, and I just want my guy Jamal. I got your your invitation. Accepted it, and we're good to go tonight. Yeah. Man, if either way, we'll figure out some way to get you some swag, man. But I mean, I think it's wild that you're, if you beat me, I might have to, definitely buy you some Rumpier sports swag, because I do think it's bad to fade this Rockets situation, because we know exactly what we're going to get.
Do not fade the Rockets. Yeah, I when I was saying like go play the first game, I was just like kind of rambling on. I was intending on playing these Rockets. You cannot fade these Rockets in this situation. You cannot fade them.
I mean, the other thing too is like House almost missed like a month of basketball. I think he missed like close to 10 games. And he's been battling some injuries and stuff. It's a back-to-back. He was on a minutes limit last night. You can't tell me he's going to play max minutes tonight. So it's one guy of their 8 that we already know that's most likely going to be limited in some capacity. We have Jason Tate, who rolled his ankle last night too. If he has any other problems with that ankle, now you're down to 6 guys. So, and then, some of those guys are DaQuan Jeffries, DJ Wilson, Anthony Lamb. Like, I actually do think DaQuan Jeffries is in place, 3K.
I think he's in play also. I forgot DaQuan. Yeah. He's a really good play.
So, one guy too is Kenyon Martin Jr. He's projected to be I'm sure these ownership projections are behind. I think he's another lock on the slate. Tough matchup for sure, but he's going to play all the minutes that he can handle. He's 3.6K, and we've seen him get it done earlier in the season. We've seen him exactly in this spot put up, 30 plus fantasy points. I mean, he's put up 36 against Boston, 38 against Utah, 30. I mean, he's just been in this spot and he's produced. So he's a guy that we can go to. Armani Brooks is the other guy I'm locking in. I'm not fading him. A G League guy coming off he played 30 minutes last night, but different situation. It was John Wall night. So Armani Brooks was just letting John Wall do his thing, and he only took 8 shots. Not going to be the case tonight. This is a guy that in the G League was putting up, having big shooting games. He's going to get all the usage on offense. I think he's a lock play at the point guard position, 3.8K. I got him going for probably 30 plus tonight, DraftKings points, and you're going to want him in your build. Now, sure, if he doesn't get there in tournaments, you could move off of him for someone like a Kendrick Nunn or whatever. But I just think it's a mistake to fade all of these Rocket plays. I mean, it's, I think it's kind of wild. So Kelly Olynyk is the other guy too. Look, he's the best player on this team. He's gonna get all the looks that he wants, and he's been playing very good too. He did play a bunch, 34 minutes last night, and so but still, I don't think that's a problem for him. And he played Denver very, very well the last time. I think he only played 29 minutes, 27 minutes. He put up 37 fantasy points last time they played. So I think he could absolutely bust you if you don't have him. So I would say definitely get some exposure to him. And then if you're multi-entering, sure, he's a guy that you can move off of, because I do agree with you, Gomes, that he would be one of the guys to where if he had a bad game and he only put up 27, that's not going to be enough on the slate tonight at all. And that would be something that could definitely bust you. So definitely an elite.
If you're gonna take a stance on Olynyk, just say you filled him, but if you want to be overweight on Olynyk, who's someone that you would be who's another Rocket that you would kind of be who's the second Rocket you could see busting? Tate, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean,
it's 3K guys. You can't really fade. I feel like KJ Martin's a lock, like you said. Armani Brooks is a lock.
Jason Tate could be one of those guys.
He's at 6'1". I just don't know who's in his range. But you did say Ingles. I think Ingles is very interesting. Ingles is in that Jason Tate range, you would imagine, and you're taking Mitchell off the court there. But I'm just trying to think through who would be a good swap off Tate. You're still obviously playing all these guys if you're playing MME, just to make that known. But
the only reason I have some interest in DaQuan Jeffries is you can play him at the shooting guard position. He's min-priced. I would not waste a point guard spot on him, but he's a guy that could bust too. But I don't think out of all of these guys, assuming the starters on the Rocket side are Marty Brooks, Tate, House, Martin, and Kelly Olynyk, I don't think DaQuan Jeffries is going to be a guy that's highly owned at all. I think he goes overlooked. Any of these guys are, who aren't starting, they're going to go overlooked, but they're all in play in my opinion. They're all going to get minutes. Even Anthony Lamb, I think he's got to see the court. So, pick and choose where you go. Make sure you prioritize also spending up and getting exposure to some of these other elite spots. You could make a case, tournament only, but you could make a case for Anthony Lamb. Let's just say you're playing Brooks, Lamb, and Kenyon Martin, and then you're spending up for all those elite center. Maybe you double spend up at center. Maybe you then play the elite pacer spot. I think that is definitely a way that you could go. So
Jeffries is a hard 3K. He's going to see 27 to 30 minutes in this game. He's a hard
Yeah,
favorite.
but if he doesn't start, I don't think he's going to be that popular. Yeah. I think he goes overlooked for sure, because then you're taking away two guard spots for this on the Rockets side. So, and then on the Nuggets, for me, it's Jokic, it's MPJ. I have a little bit of interest in him. Compazzo maybe a little bit, but it's mainly Jokic and MPJ for me. So, you got any final thoughts on this game?
That, like, we pretty much covered everything. I want to get away from Kelly. Like, obviously, he's a great player. Playing him in cash games, he's going to be the guy that I kind of like. If I was MMBing, I'd probably be with the field, and if I'm playing 3 max, maybe have 1 out of the 3 would have Kelly. But in other lineups, he's the one I'm going to take shots on and try to fade. I just think there's value at the center position. Then that Jayshawn Tate, like at 6'1", if I build like an Ingles lineup, I like that Ingles call. The more I think about it, I could go there. And maybe have Jayshawn Tate in 2 of 3. That's pretty much it, though. I think we kind of hit on everything. Do you want to give your play of the day, or how do you want to do it?
It's kind of tough on this. It's kind of tough on this slate, because I feel like if I gave my play of the day, it gives everything away, maybe. I mean, all right, let's just do it anyway. I mean, so Gomes, who would be your play of the day?
I'm gonna go DJ Wilson. He's gonna be my guy. He's gonna be my workbench tonight. They got to play. They need a big versus Jokic. They need a second big. I don't mind some DJ Wilson.
I am gonna say my guy is. I'm gonna go with Jimmy Butler. We got a little revenge there. I think Jimmy is gonna go for a big number. I think he's going to maybe he's going to get a double-double with scoring and with assists, and he's going to have a nice steals and blocks number. I think he's going to give us a nice 55 piece.
You got to give us a low-home guy too, though. You can't just go up high. I'm with you on Butler. Butler would be my high.
There's not many, like, I'm eating a lot of chalk tonight. I mean,
I like the Jeffries call. Jeffries is a good one.
Daquan Jeffries. I need redemption. Mine was, Bertans sucked yesterday. I'm not like going for a crazy play on the slate just because, I want to go for a crazy play. I think Butler ends up maybe being one of the, not lower owned, but maybe like slightly lower owned, that I just want to get significantly overweight on.
Yeah, I think Butler's a fantastic call. I like Butler a lot. He's in my first construction as well, so I'm with you on the Butler call.
Yeah, we got Mr. Patrick Rice in the chat. 5 Rockets tonight, boys. For the
we got 100 likes on the Saturday show. That's good mojo on the weekend. Bad. I'd say that's some good mojo.
I will say I do think playing 5 Rockets is very difficult to do tonight. The reasoning is because 2 of those Rockets you only can play at the center position, in DJ Wilson and Kelly Olynyk. So, like, I think the magic number is like 3 to 4. I keep looking at Amari Brooks, KJ Martin, Kelly O. You could make definitely, and then you could fit definitely one more guy in there, Jason Tate, if he's good to go, or Daquan Jeffries for sure. But I don't think I'll be playing like 5+. I mean, you never know, though. The pace in this game is going to be good. They're going to score some points, and they all have to get minutes.
Yeah, I'm with you. These Rockets are a hard pass.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, with that, we'll end it. It's a fun slate tonight. I'm not getting cute. I'm keeping it simple. I have a few pivots that I'm looking to make potentially to get a little bit different. I think it's going to be one of those type of slates tonight. So with me, AP, with my man, Bobby Gomes, let's all run Pier tonight.
Let's run Pier.